everyone. So I wanted to put together this video following some recent uproar around Oatly and their new unethical investors. So there's been lots going on social media in the last couple of days about some of us conscious consumers who are now concerned about the money that goes into Oatly. They have recently been invested in, and there's a nice long blog post over on the Ethical Edition about it. But you might now be thinking, where do I get my oat milk? Now, oat milk is probably one of the easiest plant-based milks to make at home, and in this short video today, I'm going to show you how to do it. So things you're going to need a blender. I'm using my Kenwood with its blender attachment. I live in a small 2-bedroom London flat, so I don't actually have enough room to have blenders and lots of different appliances, but maybe one day. You're going to need some of your oats, and you're going to need some tap water. So this is going to be for the first part, which is all about the mixing. So the measurements on this are not precise at all. So I'm going to use these cups which hold about 250 mils of water, and I'm going to do 1 cup of oats to 4 to 5 cups of water. So 4 cups of water if you like it on the slightly thicker side, 5 cups if you like it slightly runnier and looser. Now generally it doesn't matter which way round you put your ingredients in. For this particular blender, it doesn't really like solid things, so I always start with the liquid. So I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 cups. This particular one. Then I'm going to do the same with our oats. This big full cup. Pour them on in. Grab one of my favourite kitchen essentials, which is the spatula, which makes for zero waste cooking. So then my last little ingredient, which is completely optional, but if you like your oat milk a little bit sweeter, you can add in a tiny bit of vanilla. Now this is basically raw vanilla paste. I've had it a really long time, probably 6-7 years. So it's like the concentrated form of what you would get in your vanilla extract. So I just use the tiniest bit on the end of a teaspoon. This tiny bit here, you can see. And then I'm just going to swirl that into the water. Okay, right. So then we secure the lid and give it a whiz. So this is now nice and frothy. It smells just like delicious morning porridge. And you'll see the consistency is quite thin, but it's a little bit bitty down there at the bottom. So the final step for making the milk is to strain it. So to strain it, we need a fabric material. So this can be anything from an old t-shirt, it can be an old sock. Probably recommend giving it a good wash if you are going to use a sock. Or what's a really great thing to use is an old pillowcase. So it's not too thick a fabric where you don't get very much through, but it's also not so thin that you get quite a pulpy milk. Today I'm going to be using a piece of dressmaker's calico, so it's quite a fine sort of fairly open weave fabric. I quite like this nice and thick because I put it in smoothies, but it's totally up to you what type of fabric you use. You can buy nut milk bags, but again, just look at the type of fabric, how open it is, and then it's just a bit of trial and error really. So I think you can probably see that we're already getting some gathering of the pulp near the top. So I'm going to take this down and pop the mixer to one side. So you want quite a big piece, so you've got plenty to work with, even though my jug is very small. And then I'm just going to pop the elastic band around the top. And then you just want to make a dip in the fabric so that you've got plenty of room to work with your jug. And then we just pour on in. see here it's barely moving to squeeze down, but we are just starting to get a few drips that come through the bottom. So once you've done that batch, you'll be left with a kind of oaty, pulpy sort of sheen across the surface of your fabric. All you can do with this is either rinse it and clean off your cloth ready for the next batch, or you can scrape off the pulp using a trusty spatula and add it to a mixture to make pancakes. This is an old Fever Tree tonic bottle. It's gonna be perfect for keeping my milk in the fridge. Now, depending on how good your blender is, you will be left with kind of this oaty pulp at the bottom. I normally scoop this into a jar and then I put it actually into my smoothies with the milk that I use, and it just helps bulk it out a little bit. Or you could also use it to make pancakes. Yum. I hope you have enjoyed this very ad hoc DIY video. If you would be interested in the oat pulp pancakes, then drop me a comment below, and I'll see you next time in the next video.